Hi folks, I got a question on the emails today and I'm going to read it to you. In the light of recent events with the economy, political strong-arming with the president wanting to build a wall and a risk of recession on the rise and no way from it, how do we really stay centered? How can we just shut down that reaction and not run away and try to get political somewhere or start doomsday prepping? That is a good question. I think the best way to deal with stuff like this is to first realize that there are certain aspects of life that are just beyond your control. There are things you can't do anything about. Lots and lots of stuff is happening all the time, and some of it is really bad, but you can't really affect that as an individual. Now, the news media is in the business of sorting through the events of the day or the week or whatever and presenting us with what they think is either the most important stuff or the stuff that's going to get them the highest ratings and the most clicks and likes and whatnot and comments. And these days, as everybody knows, it's more about the ratings and the clicks than it is about what's actually important. You know, if they covered what was really important. For example, there are traffic accidents happening all the time. My likelihood of getting involved in a fatal traffic accident is far, far higher, and so is yours, than your likelihood of being involved in any of the things that they report on the news. And I think if they reported every fatal traffic accident that happened in Los Angeles every day, I think people would be a lot more careful with driving. But the news doesn't care about that stuff. It cares about the stuff that's going to get them the hits. So are the things that you see on the news really the most important things? Trump wants to build a wall on the southern border. So it either will or won't get built. It either is or is not a good idea. I'm either in favor of it or I'm against it. But I, as an individual, can have very little influence on whether that wall gets built or doesn't get built. Now, there are some things I can do that might have some influence. I could write to my congressperson, I could participate in a protest, I could write a pithy tweet that might go viral. But even if I do everything in my power, even that won't be enough to force the situation, to force the decision to go in the way that I want it to go. Even Donald Trump himself can't do that. And he's the leader of the free world. I'm just a guy who writes books that get shelved on the bottom shelves at the back of the Barnes and Noble. So I ask myself, is Trump's border wall the thing that I really want to put my energy, my mental energy and my physical energy and all my energy into? And the answer would seem to be no. Once I've written my letter to the congressperson and marched in that protest and typed out my pithy tweet, I might as well just go and do something else more enjoyable. The same goes for anything else I see on the news, or pretty much anything else I see on the news. At one time, when I was working in Japan at Tsuburaya Productions, the news was all over this big scandal that involved my company. And even then, what I could do about the situation amounted to just a tiny bit more than I can do about Trump's border wall. But maybe the guy who wrote me the email understands this. Maybe that's why he's asking about staying centered and shutting down that reaction. My solution here is to work instead on things that I can really affect. And I can give you a real-world example right now. About 15 or 20 minutes ago, I went out to my door, which is over there, and just kind of looked out at the world. It's fairly warm here. It's Los Angeles, so January is not that bad, so I can do that. And I looked out and I saw this squirrel eating some nuts over in front of my neighbor's apartment. There's bungalows here, so it's another little tiny house over there. And I saw this squirrel eating the nuts, and I could see Jack, my neighbor's cat, kind of eyeing the squirrel, ready to pounce on him or something. And I've got a relationship with Jack. He comes over and sits on my couch sometimes and hangs out in my living room or my bedroom. I got a friendship with him. So I kind of caught Jack's eye and I went, "Hey Jack, how you doing?" Which distracted him, and the squirrel ran up a tree. I also sent out a pithy tweet in response to something Donald Trump said about his wall. And I'll show it to you right now. I think what I did for the squirrel had more impact. So I'm not so much about shutting down the reaction as allowing it to have its proper space. When I find that I have a strong reaction to something I can't affect, I try as best I can to let that strong reaction pass. Some days it's easier to do this than on other days. Because I see all kinds of things on the news that worry me and bother me and make me wonder how much time humanity has left on the earth and all kinds of stuff. So I do have reactions. I think a lot of people who are watching this get the idea that I have no reactions at all, which is not true. But some of these things, most of them, almost all of them, are outside of my ability to really affect. When I see a strong reaction arise to something that I can't affect, I try my best to let it pass. Now, it's taken years of sitting every morning and every evening staring at walls to get to the point where a strong emotion can arise in me and I can let it pass. It's not an easy thing to do. But over the years, I've gotten a little better at it, and as I've gotten a little better at doing that, my life has become more enjoyable and easier. Now, you can get political if you like, and you can prep for doomsday. Maybe the time will come when I wish I had developed some survivalist skills. Maybe the time will come when I wish I'd joined the political party that now holds its life in my hands. That's all certainly possible. But for now, prepping for doomsday or joining a political faction is not what I want to put my energy into. I have a certain amount of energy available to me, and that's not where I want it to go. I would rather put my energy into my practice of Zazen and my study of Zen, and into writing and speaking about Zen to people who might find it useful. There's no way for me to know whether I'm making the right decision or not, but it feels right to me. On the other hand, this is not a popular choice. A lot of people say I'm wrong, including a lot of people who consider themselves to be Buddhists. Even a lot of top Buddhists in the field of Buddhism would say that my reaction is the wrong one. But I've never made my decisions based on what's popular. Like, I don't listen to music or watch movies or dress or read books based on what books and movies and music and clothes are popular. It's never worked for me. So why would I think that living my life based on the most popular way to live your life is going to work for me either? I don't see any reason to think that. So I guess my answer is to keep on practicing Zazen. Keep working at the practice of letting thoughts and feelings arise and pass as you stare at a blank wall. Now, that might not affect whether Trump gets his wall or not, but maybe if he does get his wall, we can all go down there together and sit and stare at it. Thanks for listening. I'm Brad. I'm supported by your Patreon and PayPal donations, and links are below to how to do that. Thank you very much. See you next time.